Hello and welcome to this webinar hosted by ProCare Solutions and also Tinkergarten by Highlights. This is titled The Importance of Family Engagement in Bolstering Children's Learning. Please take a moment to locate the question window on the right side of the On24 audience console. And please feel free to say hello or ask your first question. You can also scan the QR code on the screen or visit procare.solutions/webinar survey to fill out a short survey after the webinar. And we will have that QR code on the screen towards the end of this session. A few things to note. Don't worry if we can't see or hear you, as we have video and sound off during the presentation, but we do have that Q&A open so we can see any questions that you post. And we will have time at the end of this session for questions, so please ask as many as you would like. If you are having technical difficulties or problems with your audio, we recommend that you exit out of all other software on your device. ProCare is the leading expert with 30 plus years in the business of childcare software. ProCare's platforms help you manage everything. It's a streamlined centre management, all-in-one cloud-based integrated platform. This encompasses lesson planning, digital payments, communication and interactions, registration, administration and more. I'm joined today by Megan Fitzgerald, the founder and chief learning officer of Tinkergarten by Highlights. I realise that I've forgotten to introduce myself. Hello, I'm Bernadette Marnie. I'm the learning programs lead at ProCare Solutions. So I'll hand it over to you, Megan.
Thank you, and Bernadette. I'm so happy to be here. As it says, I am one of the founders of Tinkergarten, but in a career, I've been an educator from the beginning. I've been a teacher in preschool all the way through 8th grade. I was an elementary school principal and a science and math specialist. So all of that before founding Tinkergarten. My most important job, of course, is that I am the mom of 3 explorers, and also have been a working parent who has had a range of childcare solutions. So very much feel the importance of the work that everyone listening enables. It's critical, and early childhood is the most important time in the development of children. So Tinkergarten has been a passion project, and we'll tell you more about that. But really my passion area is helping to enable teachers and caregivers and school directors to enable children to learn through outdoor play. So we'll talk more about that, but very happy to be here.
Thank you, and we're very happy to have you with us. A little bit about myself. So my background is in education. I've been a secondary school teacher for many years, and also was heavily involved in literacy intervention programs with the goal of improving literacy outcomes for children of all ages. My role here at ProCare is as the learning programs lead, so really focusing on learning programs for internal and external customers. We'll move into our first slide, and back to you, Megan.
Great. So for context about Tinkergarten's been around for about 12 years, during which time we've trained over 7,000 teachers and worked with over 500,000 kids and their families. And these are kids ages about 1.5 to 8 years old. And we have been designed by education experts and loved by all those people. But our mission is to make sure that children everywhere have access to purposeful outdoor play as a mechanism for learning. And our goal is to raise kids who are creative, caring, and confident people who can thrive in their world by making sure that their schools, their homes, their community spaces, and all the spaces in between can be places of playful learning and connection to nature. Oh, I forgot I have the power. And just to give everyone a grounding in the sort of pedagogical, research-based learning method, we use nature as a classroom, but we'll talk about a little bit is that is a very broad definition. We bring nature indoors, we explore all sorts of outdoor environments, and really have a broad, open definition for what nature can be so that it's possible and doable for all kids and all teachers and all families. Our way of learning is through supporting child-led, open-ended play. And we do believe that play is the way that children develop best during these early years, the brain, the heart, and the body. And we consider all of our lessons as invitations to play and really empower teachers and caregivers alike to be facilitators of play. And we'll talk a little about the importance of family engagement. And really a big part of Tinkergarten and of Highlights, actually, now that we're part of a larger organization, is making sure that all grownups involved in kids' lives, primarily the number one teacher being parents and caregivers, that we really steep ourselves in the research and the practice of engaging those grownups in the service of kids' learning, and largely fueled by the research and the science behind the fact that that relationship is the most powerful in a child's life and really across all demographics. When the grownups that care for kids at home are involved in their early learning, it leads to lifelong outcomes across in really critical domains. And that includes both physical and mental health, something that we're talking a lot this week and this month. I know Child Mental Health Awareness Day was Tuesday. It's really top of mind for anyone that works with small people and the grownups that support them. There's a lot of mental health needs that we can support. The developmental outcomes that and academic outcomes, those go hand in hand, but we see it across all of the academic domains, across the developmental domains, especially social and emotional skill development. Those responsive relationships with caregiver are so critical to forming the basis for all relationships that we have. And then really what's exciting more and more as we look at the academic outcomes that come after the early years, some of the attendance issues and the challenges that schools are facing, those early experiences where we have a caregiver really involved in kids' learning do map toward better attendance, better positive attitudes toward school and learning. And group care can play such a supportive role in creating that dynamic, helping parents to understand what they're capable of, lowering the bar for what we think we need to do, and being a supportive partner and helping to engage parents and caregivers in actively being involved in their kids' early development. And we love to think about community as engaging families. I love this quote because it's really about creating the conditions and the climate in which families feel not only educated on what to do, but feel really seen and cared for, especially in this time in which there's so much burden on working families. And there's so many things asked of all of us, almost more than there ever has been before, and often without the supports of the extended family or some of the extended structures outside of the family unit. As a working parent myself, feeling like you have to be there, you have to be a great educator, you have to be a great emotional support to your kids, you have to be a provider, you have to be all of these things. And really quality group care as a partner in that can help you right size what you need to do it can help you feel really supported with incredible opportunities for your kids during the day when they're in care, and then a really clear sense of how you can do what you are equipped to do naturally in the service of your kids and feel great about it. And we really think about reminding people that kids are designed to learn, and often play is just a great way to allow families to see that just setting up an environment for play, allowing this natural process to unfold, is the work, and that parents can do this so naturally. And also that we can scaffold, and we can scaffold parents' process by giving them really consumable education and supportive ideas in that climate and in that approach that makes them feel like it's not such a burden, it's not such a lift, and it understands where they are.
And I love that idea that play can be a vehicle to engage families in their child's learning and be involved in a way that allows all families to have some sort of level of involvement in that as well. We'll have a look at some effective family engagement practices. We know that when families are actively involved in their child's education, they are going to feel empowered and valued, as well as feel really connected to what their child is learning. And this in turn creates a more supportive and enriching educational experience. So in fostering those effective family engagement practices, building strong partnerships, recognising diversity and effective communication play pivotal roles. Engaged families are going to often feel more confident about their abilities to help their children and gain a better understanding of their child's school and holistic development. And so creating and maintaining those partnerships with families is essential. We know that children develop and learn within the context of the home environment, education and care services, and also within their community. And so it's influenced by the interactions between the child and their primary caregivers, family and educators, but also by the connections and partnerships between these caregivers. So the connection and partnership between family and educators. Families have expertise about their children, and they play a really critical role in their growth and learning. And when families don't feel that they're part of a community, they might distance themselves. And this in turn may impact their willingness to interact on a deeper level. So we need to find strategies and ways in which we can make families feel included and valued within the classroom and the community. And when we do this, they're more likely to actively participate and engage with their child's learning. The second image I've got there is around recognising and respecting diversity and family experiences. Embracing and recognising this diversity involves honouring and celebrating the rich tapestry of cultural backgrounds, languages and traditions within a community. A family's knowledge and culture are embedded into a child's daily practices and routines, and it's really essential to convey a genuine respect for families' unique values, their cultural heritage, their home experiences, and ensure that they feel valued as their child's primary educators. They want to feel respected as their child's first and most important teacher, and also see that their family values are respected. And celebrating these also helps educators tailor their approach to better meet the needs of every child. And this benefits the individual students, but also enriches the entire community. Open communication is also key. So listening to families. So first and foremost, allowing enough time to truly listen and practice that active listening. And this reaffirms for families that their thoughts, suggestions and opinions matter and are valued. Open communication can look different, and maintaining that constant communication with families through apps and other communication channels really contributes to a greater level of family engagement. Being included in timely communications about their child's progress helps families understand how their child is developing, and it can also help identify any needs for additional support. It also gives families the opportunity to work through things at home and ask questions about their child's day. What did you do in the classroom today? What did you learn from this particular activity? So all of these practices help build on that connectedness and create a welcoming and inclusive environment, and where all families feel respected, they feel valued, and they also feel empowered to actively engage in their child's education. Oh, I skipped forward one slide too many. So the role of educators in promoting family engagement is essential. It's multifaceted. Educators and education support staff wear many hats: facilitator, collaborator, and advocate for students and their families. And using relationship-focused strategies to engage families deepens that relationship and demonstrates that respect. When it comes to promoting family engagement, educators encourage active and meaningful participation from families in a number of ways. And what constitutes meaningful engagement does vary from one family to another, so it is important to be flexible. Ultimately, the goal is to foster participation in a way that feels meaningful for each family. And ask families how they would like to be involved in the classroom. Is there a book that they would like to share with the classroom, or a cultural tradition they would like to share, or anything else? Keeping families informed and involved in their child's journey is also key, and using a range of communication methods ensures this, and it also maintains an open dialogue. And that regular communication really helps families feel connected and valued, and strengthens that partnership that's so pivotal to engaging families. Share resources and offer guidance. Providing tools and guidance helps families support their child's learning at home. Not all families may feel confident in their ability to do so. And as an educator, reinforcing the idea that education is a collaborative effort between home and school can enhance family confidence in supporting their child's learning at home and engaging with their child's care or education centre. It's also important to consider culture and language when communicating these resources with families. And this means knowing about families and ensuring that they can access and respond to information you share. Some ideas include sharing family-friendly resources on a website, or sharing information via a newsletter or an app. Build a community of support, and this involves creating a welcoming and inclusive environment where families feel connected to their school community. It makes it easier for them to ask questions. You can offer opportunities for families to communicate any questions through different forums, any concerns, comments, or suggestions that they may have. And this sense of belonging encourages that active family engagement and participation in school activities. And this contributes to a supportive network that benefits students and families alike, and really sets the stage for future developmental success as well. Building a community of support also invites families to share their experiences, and it helps them feel that they can seek out their community for answers and guidance, or simply have the option to share their experiences. It's definitely a vital element in education. Educators also champion collaboration and ask families for their suggestions. By valuing families' expertise and perspectives, dialogue opens up, and families feel that they are really included in that decision-making process. Asking a family about their goals and expectations for their child is a really great way to start that collaborative process. And having this two-way communication gives families the opportunity to talk about their goals for their child, their dreams and hopes for their child, and really goes back to that partnership element. Strengthens the partnership between family and centre, and enriches the learning experience for everyone involved. A few strategies to enhance family engagement. Family engagement can be promoted through community workshops and events. They might be focused on academic topics such as literacy evenings or math workshops, or STEM events, and involve families and the community in the education process. There's also opportunities for volunteering. This might be volunteering in a reading group or on different incursions or excursions. Collaborative goal setting, focusing on the child's goals, both academic and also social and holistic. Celebrating student achievements is also a really important way in which you can promote family engagement. And this can be done through sharing achievements in a newsletter or on a bulletin board. There are many different ways in which we can celebrate student achievements. Having flexible scheduling and leveraging communication tools is also really important. Families have different time constraints. There are different barriers that they may face in engaging with their child's centre or school, and offering flexibility can help overcome that, as well as leveraging a number of different communication tools, receiving information in different ways, might be a newsletter, message, update, really helps families be involved. There's also committees and support groups. So again, touching on that community element, as well as encouraging feedback. So regularly encouraging feedback from families about how their child is going at home, how they're enjoying a particular topic, how they are developing in all senses, so that holistic development element as well. Are there any others that you would add to this list, Megan?
Well, I think they're all really important pillars, and I think sometimes that learning to connect what's happening in school with home is, and all of these are great ways to do that. Being able to represent a little bit to the grown up at home what kids are doing and learning means so much. And then being able to get their input and what they're seeing and help them to figure out how to build on that, to me just seems like such a powerful, and on the receiving end, that's what I just loved about the early learning center that my little ones, when they were little ones, were at, because I felt like I had a little glimpse into the magic that you all are doing in the care centers. And then I had a sense of how my child was progressing, and then a little bit of insight on what to do at home. When you can do those things, that loop makes it feel really integrated for parents. They feel great about the fact that their kids are with you. They feel great about the fact that their kids are growing and they're seen and loved by the center. And then they feel like they have a bit of a sense of how they can be using their time at home in support of just continuing that. And I think all of these things do a beautiful job at developing that kind of loop of communication and feedback. It's so powerful when you can put it in place. So no, I support all those.
Absolutely.
One of the things that we've done a lot of studying about, both through research and just talking with the hundreds of thousands of families we've worked with in Tinkergarten, is what are the things that get in the way of engaging in your kids' learning, or feel like they get in the way? And the number one is always time. And increasingly, it feels like there's never really enough time. And also mind share. So one of the things that we've learned so much, and part of this is because we're in constant communication with families who are enrolled, but inboxes are so full, and our minds are so full and so distracted and have so many inputs, across our domains, and parenting being one of them. So, and also worries and fears. And increasingly loneliness, even though we're also connected. Oftentimes people, as parents especially of our little ones, feel very isolated. And that worry fear is such an opportunity, because I love this T. Barry Brazelton quote that is that parents don't make mistakes because they don't care, but it's because they care so deeply. And often I feel like we get in our own way, or we don't get the chance as parents to take opportunities because we might feel a little bit lost or lonely. And care centers can play such a role at embracing parents, making them feel bolstered, showing them that they're the expert in their child by doing those really important strategies that you just listed, asking for their feedback, sharing with them insights, and celebrating that their children are just marvelous, and developing so beautifully. And that goes such a long way. So cannot underscore that enough. But then also their understanding. Our grown-up minds are so different than little brains. And, I am a career educator and still was humbled by being handed humans of my own. You just you forget, because you want so badly to give them everything that they can possibly have. and to maximize on this important period of development. And then you hear that it's the period of the biggest brain development, it's the foundation for all learning, and oh my gosh, that's overwhelming on top of everything else. So helping people to understand how brains do develop and how what is really needed, and what kind of responsive caregiving can look like and sound like, and then how powerful it can be. Those are just those are missing pieces for a lot of grown-ups because our brains are just so different, and not everybody has a background in child development, even though we are all handed these incredibly precious little humans. And it's the most important job we have. So we think about, it can help to think in terms of barriers and different ways to overcome them. So time being such a critical one, it really clarifying the goal for families can help. And I love the research that the quality of family engagement matters far more than the quantity or the amount of time that you spend. Anytime you can share those research studies, we've got several blog posts about this because parents always feel like there's never enough. And you get on social media and you see these images of other people doing amazing crafts and things with their kids, and you feel like there's definitely never enough time. But there is. The periodic quality time, a little bit every day, and then allowing your amazing care center to fill in this social, incredible learning experience is a fabulous combination. And it doesn't have to be hours and hours of parent-driven play and learning time. And then when we think about outdoor time and the benefits of nature at Tinkergarten, we love the research that says that the physical and mental benefits of time spent outside can be gained starting at 2 hours per week. And it doesn't even need to be a continuous 2 hours. So if you can help families understand that, that's a little over 15 minutes a day. So just even starting a practice like that and doing that both at school and at home can have wellness and connecting benefits for both generations that start right away. So clarifying goals, setting the bars at a really doable place, and letting people know that that's legitimately where the bar should be goes a long way. The other part in terms of distraction and mind share is just sort of make it really doable for me. Easy, actionable ideas. That's what we do. That's a lot of what we do at Tinkergarten. Really easy ways to add a little bit of nature time, a little bit of play, a little moment of connection. Just take the guesswork out. I have a Saturday morning, I wake up, I could do this very easy, effortless bit here, and I can even watch a video a little bit with my child, and then it will inspire them to play, and I'll know exactly what to do. That's a gift. Or whatever you can send home from what we did today, and here's a question you can ask, or something you can do at home that it takes the guesswork out. I can execute on it as a parent, and I feel great, and I get that wonderful benefit back of having a responsive interaction with my child. That's amazing. Also, bits of insight. We'll talk a little about that when we get to the understanding. I'll hit that again. But making things really funny, doable, deliverable, video-based, get parents where they are, anything you can do to make them feel like they understand their child more, but in a way that doesn't ask more of them, is really powerful. We think about worry and fear and loneliness. Anytime you can see a parent's effort and celebrate that, and or celebrate their child's development, it goes a long way at reinforcing those behaviors and making people feel great. I know we talked about supportive community. How do you do that? But you can do that in all the ways that were mentioned, making sure that people can feel in person in community, making sure that people feel like they are learning together as parents, that they're seeing pictures of their children. That's a big part of Tinkergarten, is showing pictures of the learning. What is happening in this picture? And little kids don't take tests. They don't have, we don't have that kind of evidence to share back. But when you can show playful learning or engaged kids learning at work, social learning at work in these early years, it can be so powerful. And to see your child featured is like, oof. So anything you can do to sort of circle back evidence of the beautiful things happening in classrooms, it makes a huge difference at feeling like you're part of something and your child is part of something bigger. You've made a good choice as a parent to put your child in this learning community, and you're part of it. That is like wind in your sails as a parent. And then the understanding, a lot of the work that we do is not only to create experiences for teachers where they're growing in their capacity to support playful learning, but also give little bits of insight to parents, little wins, little bit of this one idea, bite-sized idea at a time of how the young brain works or how kids develop. And then it makes you feel just that much more empowered as a steward of that development or a supporter of that development. Back to you.
Thank you. And you touched on this point just then. Starting off with 15 minutes a day is a really great way to build up to those 2 hours a week. Sometimes we can look at 2 hours and think that's impossible to find in this week. I have so much to do. But breaking it down into 10 minutes a day or 5 minutes here or 5 minutes there is a really easy way to get started and sets a strong foundation for that to progress. Some evidence-based practices that you can use to continue building on that family engagement includes communication. And I have mentioned communication a few times already, but its importance really cannot be understated. We know that research shows that maintaining really regular and transparent communication between our home and educators promotes trust and strengthens that family-school partnership. When you have open communication across multiple channels, families have the opportunity to share what they've been doing at home, to share information about how their child has engaged in play that day or the previous day, and gives educators an insight into the home life as well. And that gives them an opportunity to build on that child's strengths and also strengthens that partnership with the family. Collaborative decision-making, also essential. This leads to improved student outcomes, and this doesn't need to be a formalized plan or anything like that. It can be having a conversation with a family about what they can do at home to support their child's learning, or what their academic goals are for their child, how their child is responding in the classroom to certain activities, certain relationships. It helps identify those areas for growth. Empowering families as advocates. Families know their children very well, and the importance of empowering them to share their experiences, share their ideas, is definitely very important. Providing targeted support and resources. And these resources don't need to be exhaustive. It can be a link to an article, or it could be an excerpt from an article that you include in a newsletter, or it could be sharing information about different community events that they can attend. So it really helps them access those resources and support their child in their development. Leveraging technology. So leveraging those technology platforms for family engagement, such as parent portals or mobile apps, can really facilitate that high level of communication and collaboration, as well as be a way that families can access resources. Leveraging technology platforms is also really great for families who may be busy, or families that are maybe non-traditional, and because it ensures that the communication is shared to all family members and that it's received, and families can have a look at it in their own time. So integrating some of these evidence-based practices really contributes to greater developmental outcomes for children down the track. It increases the likelihood of attendance and promotes positive academic outcomes for students as well. So
Great.
how to...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to hand over to you.
Yeah, go for it. That sounds great. So happy to share a little bit more detail of examples of some of the ways that Tinkergarten supports family engagement. As I said, play is really at the heart of how we think about how kids develop, and it's a wonderful opening for families because play is such a natural process, both for the child. We are wired to play. We arrive ready to learn in this way. And then it's quite natural to be a play facilitator too. We sometimes just need the understanding of what play really is because we talk about it a lot, but it can be hard to define. And then a little bit of possibly some insight, but in a lot of ways, just the allowance to support it and let it happen, and to trust children in their role of doing that. But I love these two particular quotes, one from Scientific American that just sort of almost dropped the mic and to say, basically play is at the heart of how children develop. And then the National Association for the Education of Young Children, really looking at all the different ways that these foundational capacities are supported by play, and sometimes offering this up to parents and allowing them then to receive play as a really natural game of catch with kids, and even a way to set up an environment and allow and get some breathing room for yourself, knowing that you're doing such wonderful things for your child is such an opener. So we focus a lot on play, and we openly share some research on what is play, because again, we talk about play a lot, and what is it really? And we love this, even though it's increasingly, it's from the 1980s, which is, we still love this set of criteria to help us really identify what do we mean by play, and it has to be fun, or it's not play and it's not learning, helping parents to see that it's really about the process, not necessarily a final product. I think we can get trapped in a world of crafts sometimes with kids and feel like there needs to be a final product that really represents all the learning. And although that can be very rewarding, it's not necessarily at the heart of play. It's more of engaging in the process of whatever you're doing, that children need to freely choose to engage and persist through play. Not necessarily for us to direct them in what they're doing, which is something that grown-ups sometimes, reminding them of that is both a helpful guiding principle, but also an opener that, oh, okay, they can take it in different directions. It can really be child-led, that kids are actively engaged when they're playing. That can look a lot of different ways, and that it's very non-literal, make-believe oriented, and that can be something that can just be a marvelous way to, it doesn't have to be always literal, and that's a big part of how young brains learn about the world. So we talk a lot about what makes play play, and we also look at more recent research out of the Lego Foundation, Kathy Hirsch-Pasek, Jennifer Zosh, looking at play as a spectrum. And this is really helpful, I think, when kids are in group care, because you're providing the whole spectrum for them. There's some direct instruction that's playful, there's free play time, and then there's this beautiful part in the middle called guided play, where as practitioners, we set up environments, we inspire kids, we give them invitations, and parents can do this too. They can engage in a little bit of guided play, but they can also support really nice space, time, and access to free play. And by doing that, they're enabling kids to learn and grow. So it doesn't have to all look one particular way. You don't have to be the constant playmate as a parent or a caregiver, which can be such an it can be lovely to hear, because you feel as if you were a wonderful parent, you'd play with child all the time. That's not necessary to really support kids play. So how can we play roles within these different parts of the spectrum, playing games with kids? All of it's good for children. So you can dabble in different types of play and still feel like your child is learning and growing and getting all those benefits that we hear about from Scientific American and NACI and all those wonderful things. And so we talked a little bit about overcoming some of the barriers. We're excited to share some examples of what that looks like. One example is we have a video series at Tinkergarten called Just Between Us Grownups. And this is one example of one of our most popular videos. And it's 3 minutes, so it has to be quick and has to, but it's very entertaining and it's very resonant, because we have a father who feels he needs to engage his child who's busy at play in conversation. And it helps to understand the conversation chain and all of the many things and skills, sub-skills that are required for a small human to engage in a conversation. And it's overwhelming when you look at it, which for us is very easy. We've integrated all these skills. We can multitask, but this child who's so into her play that she's doing it's actually asking a great deal of her to do both of those things. So it really helps parents understand, wait, how can I support a child who's deep at play and still feel like I am engaging with them in a responsive way? So that's one example. Helping our little ones become strong communicators, 6-minute read with lots of practical ways. In communication skills are the top thing that parents have the opportunity to support kids with. But it doesn't have to be constant. It doesn't have to be, it's really natural once you help parents understand a few different everyday practices that are naturally already happening, how to lean into those, or just even to recognize that they're marvelous ways to help support kids at communicating. We also have a lot of ideas. So our Tinkergarten subscriptions, our Tinkergarten Home is an example of a video-based 1 lesson a week way to help parents have kids watch an experience that involves me as the teacher, kids from all different settings playing and pursuing a particular skill, playful learning outcome, but all takes place in settings like your home setting, indoors, outdoors, engaging in nature and engaging in a skill development, but very doable. There are printables, and it's just very easy for families to follow along and feel like it takes about half an hour for a parent to watch and kick off, and then kids can play all week long. That's just one example of powerful ideas. And these connect to our in-school curriculum as well. So same lessons, there's a in-school version and a home version, so it's really easy to say, here's what we did in class, and here's what to do if you want to build on it at home, because it's all tied together. And we have calendars that have been probably the most widespread way that we reach new families and teachers alike. Just in every 2 days, some way to tie nature into what you're doing or play into what you're doing. They're tied to nature happenings, to the holidays that we all celebrate, the special days, the seasons. World Bee Days coming up. So lots of different ways to play like bees, understand bees, do good things for the bees, lots of options to choose from, and just ways to tip your toe into the water of getting those, maybe pursuing those 2 hours a week, or just looking for points of connection without having to invent the wheel. Really easy, really doable, right there for you, ideas of ways to connect with your kids. So these are just some of the examples of free content and free resources that we have available for families. And then Tinkergarten has actual subscriptions where we support people who want to follow this program. Tinkergarten Home is that direct to caregiver, once a week, a new video lesson, any printables and directions that you need, all household materials, things you already have on hand, can be done in any setting, indoor, outdoor, urban, suburban, rural, whatever you've got. And then there's Tinkergarten Plus, which is the training, the curriculum, and the resources and materials that you'll see this teacher using that help you implement the weekly lessons of Tinkergarten in a school, an early learning center, or homeschool. So that is a program where we have twice a year, 2 seasons a year, all lessons that keep rolling on. And it's all designed for kids 2 to 8. And then Tinkergarten Pro takes that same curriculum and adds on tools and marketing and and entrepreneurial skills that someone would need to develop their own Tinkergarten programs in their community. So all of those ways of supporting practitioners and parents and caregivers at bringing outdoor play into the work that they do. And also my colleagues at Highlights have a new program called Preschool with a Purpose, which is a full curriculum that is built upon the beloved Highlights content that has been developed over generations, but really helping teachers build in a play-based experience for kids 10 months out of the year, and really make it doable for teachers who might be new or teachers who have been at this for quite a while. And this has built into it little wristbands that go home with, here's what we did this week, here's what to ask me, and here's the Highlights content and newsletter that can help you keep going. So it's really, Highlights knows a lot about how to help families have wonderful experiences, and they've sort of built the program to engage families, which is really exciting. And this is brand new.
I really love that idea of play. As an adult, I think it's very easy to forget the simple joy that you get from play, and that sense of connectedness to your environment. There's also a really strong relational element in play, interacting with either a caregiver or other children, and developing their understanding of the social world as well.
So Bernadette, can you hear me?
I can.
Hi, everybody. Another voice jumping in at you. Great webinar, ladies. My name is Leah Woodbury. I'm our head of content here at ProCare. solutions. And I just want to say a hearty thank you to both of you for what you've talked about right now. If we could just take a couple minutes before we get to the questions and talk a little bit about how ProCare does support family engagement, we certainly would appreciate it. As we go, one of the things you were talking about is encouraging communication. I am a mother to a preschooler, and our center uses ProCare. And on the app, I'm going to tell you, I love it. Teachers are sharing. I'm getting these updates all day about what he's up to. When he was smaller, it was naps. Now it's more what is he learning, and play, definitely play. I love to see the pictures of play. And the ability to get those photos of children in action is really vital, and it's something that parents have come to expect. So if your center isn't using a child care mobile app, that's something we'd love to help you with and think about how it could enhance the family engagement that you are offering to your families. In addition to that, there's more to it than pictures. You can share newsletters, the calendar. E-documents is a big thing. I'm sure you get tired of manually entering a bunch of forms and information into your computer to try to keep that all set up. Parents don't like doing it either. Through our child care mobile app, this is something that you're going to be able to do. It's part of what ProCare does, but all in one solution. Families are able to pay their bills, manage tuition, engage with you, a true family engagement system. Here's a quick look at what we're able to offer you. You're going to be able to do everything, control and manage your classrooms more effectively. And by doing that, it's going to give you more time to connect and engage with your staff and families, whether it's through the mobile app, whether it's because you're saving time in other aspects of managing your center. You can read through all of those and all the great things that Tinkergarten does as well. You can see on this list the things that are so important right now. And now we want to jump into questions, which are obviously our most favorite. We have some really good ones. I don't know which of you would rather take this one, but how can you engage families without overwhelming them?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm happy to jump in, or if you wanted to take this question, that's...
Sure. I mean, I'm happy to give a few thoughts, but yeah, I think that goes back to the quote that we shared of making sure they feel seen and heard. And so always, as we give invitations to play to children, make sure that families feel like ideas and resources are invitations, not necessarily must-dos, or it can be very easy to feel overwhelmed, feel like you're behind, feel like it's more work to do, that help can be received as burden, or that you're not doing your job if you're not availing yourself of everything that school has to offer. So whenever you can, make things bite-sized, use those tools that we see, and ProCare has wonderful tools that kind of cut through the clutter and get right to parents as much as you can think of, making it digestible, getting it right to parents in a way that's really easy to digest, and making sure that it's received as an invitation rather than a directive, or just acknowledging the busyness of people and welcoming them in versus making them feel like they should do something. Goes a very long way. Burnett, what do you think?
I absolutely agree with everything you've said. Really affirming families that anything that they're doing is fantastic, and you don't need to do everything at once. Those small bite-sized activities really contribute to the larger picture, and sharing those resources and making sure that families do feel supported. So if they do feel overwhelmed, they can come to you and ask for guidance and support, and receive maybe some direction on how to structure their time with their child if that's what they're looking for, or point them in the direction of some resources that have those quick 5-minute ideas that they can implement. It really comes back to making sure they feel very supported and feeling that they have a partner in this journey.
I love that. Yeah, makes all the difference.
And what about keeping prospective families engaged? Any thoughts on that?
I think content can go a long way toward that as well. So if you have, if parents feel like the school or the care center is a place that's going to support them with ideas and with, and they can get a few quick wins, and they're going to want more. So I think some of this content, some of this making people feel seen even before they're part of the community, having them be able to peek into what being part of your community would feel like, would differentiate a care center over another. In many ways, it's sort of, you start out with convenience. Many people have to manage, you know, what the cost, but we're all, our hearts are often what lead us to put our children in the care of others. So if we feel like they will be nurtured and we even will be nurtured, it is very compelling as a prospective parent to want to be part of that kind of community. That's how I would feel about it. I don't know, Bernadette, what you'd say, but
I'm not a parent myself, but I, again, absolutely love everything you've just said and agree with it wholeheartedly. Having that insight into how a centre communicates with their families and the support and the resources that provide really, what am I trying to say here? Really is quite a positive thing, and I think that I think that's a great way to engage prospective families.
Yeah, maybe differentiate too from other places. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if they're trying to decide between a few centers and one might have these capabilities and really know how to do this well, using the points that you just said versus centers that aren't as prepared. I just want to mention a couple things super quickly. You are all going to get an email with this recording and the slides. So some of you were asking about wanting the slides, and I agree. I want to go back and read them as well because there's a lot of really great content in here, and it's a lot to absorb. And we do have 2 Amazon gift cards to give away today. The first is going to be for someone who stuck with us to the end. That is Christine Vargas. So congratulations. We're going to get in touch with you and make sure you get your gift card. For everyone other than Christine, we have a chance to win through completing our survey. So you can see that on the screen. So scan the code or go to procare.solutions/webinar/survey. It's a short form. It's not a big deal. And on behalf of ProCare Solutions, we want to thank both of you for all the great information that you shared today. We want to thank all the childcare providers who came on to listen to this webinar. We know how busy you are, and we so appreciate you letting us spend a part of your day with us. And a heartfelt thank you to everyone for all the work that you do supporting the workforce, the economy, nurturing young minds. We are so grateful to you. Again, thank you to everyone. We hope to see you the next time on a webinar. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thanks for helping me be part of this. It was great.
Thanks so much. Okay, bye.